This is Real Estate This Week with Stephen Gasque. 17 years on air and online, helping you succeed in buying, selling, and investing in property. The best real estate strategies out there, just for you.
Welcome to Real Estate This Week. Hi again, I'm Stephen Gasque, and I'm so glad you're here as we look at a really important part of buying and selling a house. Doing it fast, super fast. Fast enough to take that new job across the country, or fast enough to get your kids enrolled in that new school before classes start. So many reasons for a need for speed. And so, let's ask a real estate professional how to make it happen. Joining us now is Lindsey Culver, principal broker at the Premier Property Group, LLC, in Lake Oswego, Oregon, in the Portland area. Lindsey is the past president of the Portland Metropolitan Association of Realtors and a state director for the Oregon Association of Realtors. She's also served at the Women's Council of Realtors as its Oregon State Governor and president of its Greater Portland Area chapter. Lindsey, welcome to Real Estate This Week.
Well, thank you so much, Stephen. I'm so excited to chat with everybody today.
I'm so glad you're here. It's been a while.
It has been. It has been a while.
It really has. And so tell me, how is business in Oregon?
Business is booming. It's incredible. I got 3 deals in escrow in the last 2 weeks. We're getting a new listing. We're staging it here in Canby, Oregon. That's going live next week, and I'm meeting with some sellers tomorrow. It's just busy, busy, busy.
Oh, Lindsey, well, I hope you have time to talk to me.
I will always make time to talk with you.
You're the best. You're the best. And so, Lindsey, as we know, many times life happens, and you have to do real estate quickly. Say that you get a great job offer in another city, or you want to get into a new school district before the year starts, or family issues. Speed is a big component sometimes in real estate. And I'd like to ask you, beginning with buyers, what can a buyer do to do a deal really quickly while at the same time protecting their money, their time, and their best interests?
Great question. Well, first is making sure you're pre-approved. I would say now more than ever have people realized I can't buy a house without a pre-approval, right?
Right.
So that is very important to get that done. We've got some trusted partners in lending that we can absolutely refer. However, there's plenty out there to interview and make sure they're good. The other piece is making sure that you have time. So some people work during the week, and if they need to pull the trigger, they're going to need to maybe take a longer lunch break to go see the house. Your realtor needs to be flexible, such as myself. I've done actually a plethora of FaceTime videos for clients that are out of state. That's a whole nother conversation too.
Awesome.
So yeah, I think it's just really being mindful, understanding the process. So as we have tons of information on the internet, you really want to make sure though and find your realtor and interview them. So especially if you're on a short timeline, you got to find somebody you trust. Period. End of story.
Well, Lindsey, you raised some great points, and let's go through them really quickly.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to get pre-approved and you want to be all ready to buy that house and get that mortgage when you find the perfect place, tell me, if you go to a lender, even a trusted lender, and say, look, I need this pre-approval really, really fast, will they go for it, or will they kind of roll their eyes and say, well, it'll be there when underwriting is done, so cool your jets?
Well, I wish all sizes were the same, but they're not. And so you basically want to make sure and give your W-2s, have your taxes filed, and hopefully your credit is good, and hopefully you have money in the bank. So if those are all kind of checked and everything is good, yes, you can get a pre-approval pretty quickly. If you've got some blemishes on your credit, if maybe your job is a little volatile, maybe you don't have that much money down, All those variables can kind of change the game. So really, when someone says, oh yeah, I can do it all, I can do it all, you really need to take that with a grain of salt too. Okay. And
Interesting.
that's why you got to have a trusted person. And so sometimes it's actually really great to go with the realtor that has that relationship, as they've vetted that person many, many, many times.
Oh, that is wonderful, Lindsey. That is just great advice. And now a question about financing, though. I've heard in some super hot markets that many buyers are going a step beyond just getting pre-approved, and they're going through what you would consider to be full underwriting on their
Yes.
loan before they find the house. Is that happening in your area?
It's happening a little bit. I think more or less I'm seeing appraisal waivers. I don't know if you've heard of that term before or anybody out there, but that's what I'm seeing. So that means that person has great credit, they have a lot of money down, and all the boxes are checked, and therefore the lending institution feels that they are not a high risk, nor is that property. So that's a really cool one, especially in multiple offers. I love talking to the agent on the other side going, and by the way, I have an appraisal waiver.
Wow, you've got to be super qualified to get that, I imagine.
Yeah, I think it's also having somebody on the lending institution side that's been in the business and they know what to do and they ask the right questions and they're just very well versed in that arena, right? They do lending. I don't do lending. I'm a realtor. So I'm well versed in my arena. I stay out of that world.
I see. And so we're talking about if someone really wants to succeed and do a deal fast, first they'll be completely pre-approved and maybe even pre-underwritten.
Yes.
Second, they will be working with a realtor who's very flexible, who will watch every listing that comes on, and the buyer would be flexible enough themselves to leave work if they have to see the place. So that would be a really, really fast potential. But what about a really slow potential? What if someone says, well, I haven't really talked to a lender yet. Is that important?
I love the voice. It's fabulous. Well, how I run my business is if you want to see any homes, you have to be pre-approved. Period. End of story. One, it's a complete safety reason for myself. Two, it's to protect myself so I'm not wasting my time with someone who's a C client when I could be focusing on an A client like the one you just talked about that needs to buy within 72 hours, right?
Right.
So I'm not going to work with that person. And third, now that we have the new buyer representative agreement, I can't show a house without someone signing that. So therefore, it wouldn't be prudent for me to show a home without someone with a pre-approval letter.
And so let's look also at the reality that there's two parties to a sale. What
Correct.
if a seller would like to sell in, say, 3 months, but the buyer really needs the place fast?
Yeah, that happens sometimes. I think it's more or less trying to find a happy medium, right? So maybe it's they want to stay a little longer. So maybe we can give them 1.5 months of a rent back instead of 3 months. It's all case dependent on each transaction, each buyer, each seller, each home, each realtor, right? There's so many variables. And at the end of the day, we're puzzle solvers, right? We're problem solvers. That's what we do every single day for a living. So I try and make magic happen. I think you know that by now.
Oh, I do.
And we can usually make magic happen.
And it occurs to me that if a seller does want to wait 3 months, but the buyer's ready now, they can go ahead and buy the place and then get an Airbnb for a few months. That would be okay too.
Yeah, they could. Absolutely. Yeah, that's an option. They could, get a hotel, but it's probably cheaper for an Airbnb. So good call. That is true.
So we just mentioned sellers. Let's turn to them now. If I own a house and I realize I've got to go and I have to sell my house quickly and hopefully for the best money possible, what do I do, Lindsey?
Great question. Well, first things first, You have your realtor come over to assess your home. How I run my business is I look through the lens and the eyes of what a buyer does and what a buyer is looking at. And by the way, buyers are super picky right now, like incredibly picky, because they're kind of grumpy that their interest rate is higher than what it's been in the past. So what I tell my seller is,
Grumpy.
yeah, oh, they're grumpy. They're Grumposaurus Rex. They're mad.
I love that.
Yeah. So I basically tell the seller, hey, here's the deal. I'm going to look around. I'm going to give you kind of a checklist. I know we're on a time crunch, so I'm going to kind of look at it as who can get out there the fastest to fix those items. And are you good with the price that that contractor has quoted you? And we kind of come up with a game plan. It's a partnership, and it should always be a partnership with your sellers. If we want to have this harmonious success at the end, we all got to be on the same playing field.
Right.
We got to understand what's happening.
So are you talking about bringing in professionals to do the interior of the house and maybe change some things,
Yeah.
maybe update the kitchen and also curb appeal outside?
Totally. All the above. Yep. And I like to say I'm fiscally mindful. And so I try and be very courteous with my sellers too. I'm not going to just arbitrarily say, oh, you should just replace this and this and this because I'm lazy. And I don't, I want the best for them, but I also look at it pragmatically. Like I need to also save them money. Right? That's part of my job too. So I do really go over and beyond, and I probably overanalyze that, but that's why they love me, because they're like, Lindsey, you're treating our money like your money. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. You bet I am. So
that's the best.
Yeah, it's important. I want to sleep at night.
Another quick question about speed for the seller.
Yeah.
Now, we've heard that if you stage your house, typically it'll sell faster and for more money. But the process of getting your house staged, couldn't that slow it all down?
Well, once again, it's all dependent on your realtor's relationships and how they run their business. So how I run my business is we have some staging items. And so depending on what the house looks like, if it's you're going to laugh. If it's hoarder paradise, like if they have a lot of stuff, we got to put that stuff in a storage unit. Okay. And then we're probably bringing in more things to stage, and we might supplement with a staging company. Right. So it really depends on when we show up at that house. I can jump. If someone says I need to sell in 2 weeks, which by the way, we did for my dad and my stepmom.
Wow.
We jumped. Oh, we certainly jumped. And
that's huge.
Well, Lindsey hears a no, and it's just one step closer to a yes. So I'll find the contractor. I'll find the stager. You know what I mean? I'll figure it out. I always do.
The one thing we haven't talked about yet, and this applies to both buyers and sellers, is the closing. Mm-hmm. How quickly can you close on a house? And I mean, they have to do the title search. They have to do all sorts of paperwork and preparations, getting the deed ready. How quickly can a closing attorney get it done?
Great question. So in the state of Oregon, we have the title company and then escrow. So we don't actually use attorneys. I know some states do. What I have seen, the quickest I've ever closed was a week and a half.
Wow.
And with that was, case dependent. That title, the clouds are all removed and everything's clean and clear for that buyer. I would say, even if you're paying cash, this is one nuance I think a lot of people skip, is get title insurance. Please, please, please. I had a client and a great story where they ended up getting title insurance and it was cash. And thank goodness they did, because the title company messed up. And, 3 months later, they didn't find a lien. And guess who had to pay for it? Title, because they had insurance. So get title insurance, even if it's cash.
Excellent. So you really closed on a place in a week and a half?
Yes.
That is the fastest I have ever heard of,
Yeah.
Lindsey. That is supersonic speed.
Well, that's all based on that title company, right? And how quickly can they jump and remove all the clouds on the title? Yeah.
Well, that's great to know.
Yeah.
And what about one more thing that could really slow it down, potentially? What about getting a moving company in the height of the summer when everybody is moving?
Are you moving across the states? Are you moving across the nation? Are you moving down the street?
All that matters.
All of it matters. I've been doing this 20 years. Every situation's different. Every client's different. I love playing chess and I try my best to forecast the future, but I can only do so much. So, yes, every situation's different. And can we move mountains? We can move mountains, but just depends on the situation.
And so we know that most realtors, especially really experienced realtors like you, have trusted partners who are lenders, who are title companies, who are home stagers, who are handymen, who are curb appeal experts. But what about movers? Do most realtors have movers that will change their schedules just to accommodate that realtor?
Yeah, that's a hard one. Good question. I think it would depend on where they're going. If there was a way that maybe they could squeeze them in between clients. I've had it where the person had to move, the one that my dad and my stepmom, and they ended up basically hiring a U-Haul, hiring some guys to move it in the truck. And then they were only moving 25 minutes away, 20 minutes away. So that was a little bit different, but that was their workaround, right? Because they couldn't get a moving company. So
Wow.
it's just finessing, right? It's moving the puzzle pieces. It's trying to figure out how to make it all work.
Well, Lindsey, let's recap now for the need for speed, beginning with buyers. If I want to buy a house as quickly as possible, what's the most important thing I can do to make that happen?
You must have your pre-approval ready or be pre-qualified
Okay.
and underwritten.
Okay.
Okay.
And if so, what's the fastest I could possibly expect to actually buy a house?
As long as the stars all align for cash buyers, a week and a half. If you are financing, you're looking at about 3 weeks.
Excellent. And now the same question about sellers. If I want to sell my house as quickly as possible while protecting my money and my best interests, Lindsey, what's the most important thing I can do to get that house sold fast?
Look at the house from a lens of what a buyer is looking at. So be critiquing what a buyer would look at. So would they be looking at scuffs on the wall? Would they be looking at bad carpet? Just change your perspective, right? Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. That would be what I would do. Obviously, your realtor will help guide you with that, but that would be number one.
Excellent. And again, how quickly could I actually sell my house if I did it as fast as humanly possible?
Probably 2 weeks to get it all prepped and good to go on the listing side. And then someone makes an offer within a couple days and it's cash. Yeah, you could probably close within the month.
That is awesome. So, Lindsey, as we talked about earlier, Portland is a super hot market right now. Let me ask you just a couple of questions about working in Portland. Is it still a solid seller's market, and is speed important there in getting your offer in? And are people waiving home inspections and waiving appraisals? What's happening in Portland right now?
Well, Portland is, I would say, an enigma because certain pockets were very heavily driven on neighborhoods. So certain neighborhoods in Southeast, like Tabor, South Tabor, multiple offers, people waiving inspections, waiving appraisals, appraisal gaps, those kind of things are happening right now. Parts of the suburbs over where Nike and Intel are, Bethany area, homes are sitting, right? So some are seller's market, some are buyer's market. It's all over the board.
Oh, that's fascinating.
It is highly fascinating. This is the most interesting market I have ever been in 20 years.
Oh, that's incredible. But knowing you, Lindsey, you will have a great 2026.
Yes, I will.
Well, I want to thank you for being on the show today because this is one of my favorite topics, how to do real estate as fast as possible while protecting your money, your time, and all your best interests. And Lindsey, you certainly have shown us how to do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds wonderful. Bye.
Take care. Lindsey Culver, Principal Broker at the Premier Property Group, LLC, in Lake Oswego, Oregon, in the Portland area. Lindsey is the past president of the Portland Metropolitan Association of Realtors and a state director for the Oregon Association of Realtors. She's also served at the Women's Council of Realtors as its Oregon State Governor and president of its Greater Portland Area chapter. Next time on Real Estate This Week, more in-depth advice about buying and selling homes this summer. Cutting-edge information you need to know. That's next on Real Estate This Week. And until then, I'm Stephen Gasque, and thank you for listening.
A brand new episode of Real Estate This Week with Stephen Gasque drops every weekend, everywhere. And you're invited to listen, subscribe, and follow us. Just look for Real Estate This Week with Stephen Gasque. The best real estate strategies out there, just for you.